Okay, the best way to settle this is heads is 1974 and tails is 1981. Okay. And it is tails and it's 1981. Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. And as you can see, this is one of my top 10, 15, 20, 30 best of albums from 1965 to 1989. And because the poll was a tie between 1981 and 1974, I tossed a coin and 1981 won. So I'm going to do a top 30 because it's an absolutely brilliant year. I'll race through 30 to 16, but as normal I will give 3 bubbling unders. And they are Meat Loaf and Dead Ringer, with the absolutely fantastic I'm Gonna Love Her for Both of Us on it, as well as obviously Dead Ringer for Love, Peel Out and Read 'Em and Weep. It's a Jim Steinman written album and it's a good follow up to Bat Out of Hell, even though Bad for Good was originally going to be the follow up. The next one is Genesis Abacab with the fantastic Keep It Dark on it, as well as the title track. Man in the Corner, not a bad song. Me and Sarah Jane, also a really good one as well, but it does have the dreadful Who Done It on it. And the third one is the Bee Gees' Living Eyes, which spectacularly failed for them. So much so that they decided to write songs for other people rather than record them themselves. So you got things like Heartbreaker for Dionne Warwick, Kenny Rogers, Eyes That See in the Dark, Diana Ross, Eaten Alive. Well, it's a very good album, and things like Wildflower is a very good song. The title track I think is very good. He's a Liar is not a bad single, but it's a good album. Okay, going on to my top 30, and my number 30, and you might think it's a bit low, and it's Echo and the Bunnymen and Heaven Up Here. And yeah, this is their second album, and this is their most, I think, moody album. I think around this time they were the kings of glum rock rather than glam rock. And there's some good songs on this, like Show of Strength, Heaven Up Here itself. I think A Promise was the single, which is very good. But generally speaking, this does not have the hooks the way maybe Porcupine does, or especially the one with Seven Seas, which is Ocean Rain. But I still do like this. I haven't played this for a while. With the Hips, another good song, and Over the Wall. But it still only manages to get my number 30. And number 29, and it is Stiff Little Fingers and Go For It, and this is their third album. And this is the one with the 2 singles, Silver Lining, which is full of horns, and Just Fade Away, which is just classic SLF. Roots, Radicals, Rockers and Reggae is another great track. It opens up. And Piccadilly Circus, good. The only one has got a bit of a punk reggae feel to it, which is, I think, sounds a little bit like The Clash. But Jake Burns was a huge fan of The Clash, so I think his favourite single of all time was White Man and Hammersmith Pally. But I also love Gate 49, which is like a little rockabilly number. And Gate 49 was the gate at Heathrow that brought them back to Belfast. So yeah, Stiff Little Fingers, Go For It is my 29. At 28, and it's Elton John's The Fox, and this is a very underrated album. There's 2 singles off this, Nobody Wins and the very catchy Just Like Belgium that failed to do anything at all. But you get Carla Etude Fanfare, which is almost like film music, and I think I read a book way back then saying that this album was going to be like a soundtrack. But he didn't go through with it, but he obviously kept parts of it. Chloe is a beautiful song. It should have been a single here. It was in America. But you also get really good songs, like The Fox itself is brilliant, and Heels of the Wind, very good. So it's one of his best 80s albums, and so it gets my number 28. At number 27, and we have UB40 and Present Arms. And this is the one with 1 and 10 on it, and the double A side of Don't Let It Pass You By and Don't Slow Down. Yeah, good album, and there's no songs on the back, so I have to go with what I can remember. Lamb's Bread, good song, and the title track is probably one of the best ones they've ever done, Present Arms. So yeah, there's another track off this, and I really do like it, and I just can't remember the name of it. So let's get that sound. It's Silent Witness, I think, is really good. So Yeah, Present Arms, my number 27. At number 26, it's an album I played a couple of weeks ago, and it's Ultravox and Rage in Eden. And this is the second album with Midge Ure. Now this has got The Voice on it, probably their best ever single, maybe Vienna. It also has The Thin Wall on it, which I think is brilliant, but other good tracks like West Stand Alone and Stranger Within and Accent on Youth. Very good album, and it gets my number 26. So at number 25 we have Pretenders 2, and I remember this getting slated in the music press when it came out. They thought it was nowhere near as good as the debut. I actually think it's better than the debut, I think. But there's 4 singles off this. Talk of the Town is my favourite single of the Pretenders, and it's an edited form here, which I don't understand why. I Go to Sleep, the Ray Davies song, was a big hit. Message of Love, I remember it going into the charts and then going straight back out again. And then Day After Day, which is another really good one, but it didn't do so well. But the really good tracks are like Pack It Up, Louie Louie, which is not the old rock and roll track, it's the Chrissie Hynde song, it's really good. And Bad Boys Get Spanked I've always liked, and The Adulteress, but it's a good album, and it gets my number 25. At number 24, and we have Status Quo and Never Too Late, and there was only one single taken off this, and it's the Something About You Baby I Like, which Tom Jones had a hit with. But there's some really good tracks on here. There's a blistering version of Carol by the Rolling Stones. Well, sorry, Chuck Berry, but the Rolling Stones is the version I knew. Never Too Late itself is great, but the best song off this is Don't Stop Me Now, which I think is fantastic. Enough is Enough is very good as well. Mountain Lady, I think, is the Alan Lancaster song. Good album, one of their last really good ones, so it gets my number 24. At number 23, and we have Ten Pole Tudor, and it's Eddie, Old Bob, Dick and Gary, and this has 3 singles off it. It has Swords of a Thousand Men, which is a fantastic single, Three Bells in a Row, which is a slightly different version to the actual single version, and Wunderbar, which is a slower down version than the single version. But other really good songs like Go Wilder and Heather Now are just hilarious. They're really, really funny, and Judy Annual is very good. Tell Me More is slightly more, not as fast as the other ones, but still a really good song. This is a really good album, and they had 2 albums this year. The other one is Let the Four Winds Blow, which just didn't manage to get my top 30, but it's still a good album as well. So Ten Pole Tudor at number 23. Okay, at number 22, and we have Hazel O'Connor and Cover Plus, and doesn't that just look like Scary Monsters? This has Cover Plus, We've All Grown Up, a fantastic single by Hazel. It's one of my top 3 of her singles. Brilliant. Hanging Around, the cover of the Stranglers song, also very, very good version. It was a minor hit single. She does reworking of her E.I. Adio, which was originally her very first single back in 1979. I like this version. I like the original single version. I like them both. It's very, very good. And even Lou Reed's Men of Good Fortune is on this. That's Life, Dawn Chorus, all really good songs, and Cover Plus gets my number 22. At number 21, and is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Hard Promises. The Waiting, very, very good. Letting You Go, very catchy. Great duet with Stevie Nicks, Insider. Thing About You, standard Tom Petty song, but still good. And Night Watchman's got a bit of a reggae feel to it. This is a very, very good album, and it rated very highly in my Tom Petty discography, or ranking discography. At number 20, and it is Kirsty MacColl and Desperate Character, and this is the one with the hit single There's a Guy Works Down the Chip Shop, Swears He's Elvis. But the track off here I really love is Clock Goes Round. It opens it. It's a real good, almost rock pile-like new wave song, but you get sort of 50s type influence songs like Teenager in Love, which is very good, See That Girl. You also get a country version of Chip Shop, which is very good as well, but this is her debut album and it's very, very good. Mexican Sofa, Until the Night, all good songs, so that gets my number 20. And number 19, and a band that I didn't really know that much about until a couple of years ago, and it's the Go-Go's Beauty and the Beat. And this is their debut album. It's got We've Got the Beat on it, as well as Our Lips Are Sealed, which was co-written by Terry Hall and was also a single for Fun Boy 3. But things like How Much More is really good. Automatic's a very, very good song as well. Skid Marks on My Heart, I think, is the one that Belinda Carlisle wrote the lyrics to. It's a good sort of post-punk, new wavy type album, and I really do enjoy all of the Go-Go's albums. I couldn't believe that I didn't know much about them until about 3 years ago when I took a gamble on this. So the Go-Go's gets my number 18. And number 17, and we have Phil Collins and Face Value, and this is by far the best album he's ever done. And yes, I do think it is better than Abacab. In the Air Tonight, brilliant, especially with that drum solo. I Missed Again, full of horns, but it's a really good song. But the third single is my favourite of the whole three, and it's If Leaving Me Ain't Easy. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful ballad. You get his version of Behind the Lines, which was from Duke, as well as his version of Tomorrow Never Knows. But other really good songs like The Roof Is Leaking I really do like, and I'm Not Moving is one of my favourites. A very, very good album, and his second album is good as well, and then he sort of went tits up for me basically. So Face Value is my number 18. At number 17, and we have Elvis Costello and Trust. He had 2 albums this year. The country one failed to make my top 30. But the single off this is Clubland, which is a good standard Elvis Costello song without being exceptional. New Lace Sleeves is very good. Lover's Walk I really do like. Big Sister's Clothes I think is one of the best tracks off this. But then there's one, Watch Your Step, which I think is a really good almost. I wouldn't say it's reggae, but it's got that sort of slight reggae feel to it, which I think is very, very good. But the other single off here, which was a well, not a duet, but a collaboration with Glenn Tilbrook, is From a Whisper to a Scream, which is also pretty good as well. So Trust gets my number 17 by Elvis Costello. And number 16, and another artist that I've really just got into over the past 5 years or so, is Toya, and it's Anthem, and there's 2 huge hit singles off this. It's a Mystery, which I absolutely love, even though she didn't write it, I absolutely love it, and I Want to Break Free, which is really good. Other great tracks are Jungles of Jupiter, which really could have been a single, and We Are is another one that could have been a single as well. Marionette is a really good track, as is Popstar. Very, very good album. So Anthem by Toya gets my number 16. At number 15, and we have the Rolling Stones and Tattoo You, and this is an album with 2 halves. You get your rocky ones in the first, and then your really slow ones in the second, and it's the second side that I really do like on this. Things like Waiting on a Friend, Heaven, Tops, all really good stuff. Worried About You, absolutely love side 2. Side 1's not as good, but it still has its highlights, like obviously Start Me Up, and I think Slave is very good as well. Black Limousine, which is a bit of a bluesy number, which I actually do quite like. Little TNA is fun, politically incorrect, but it's just fun, and it's one of the Keith songs. So Tattoo You gets my number 15. And number 14, and we have Sparks and Whomp That Sucker. Yeah, the singles off this are Tips for Teens and Funny Face. But the songs I really do love on this are Susie Safety, which I think is a delightful song, and That's Not Nastasia, which is so repetitive that it makes it really good. It repeats constantly, but I absolutely love it. And Wacky Women is a really good track as well. The Willies is so funny, and Upstairs is funny as well. It's a really good Sparks album. So this was coming off the back of the disco, and this is like their first new wave album of the 80s. And between 81 and 88, I don't think they put the foot wrong. Well, maybe apart from Music You Can Dance To, but I got used to it. Okay, at number 13, and we have the Human League Dare, and there's 4 huge hit singles off this: The Sound of the Crowd, Open Your Heart, Love Action, and Don't You Want Me. But other great tracks like The Things That Dreams Are Made Of, Do or Die, Darkness. Seconds, really good album. I think it was the best selling album of 1981 or 1982 actually, because I think this came out near the end of 81. So there is my number 13. And number 12, and we have OMD and Architecture and Morality with 3 big hit singles: Joan of Arc, Maid of Orleans and Souvenir. But there's a lot more to this as well. The New Stone Age, which is very guitar based, which is really, really good. She's Leaving is a fantastic song. Georgia is more like your synth type OMD song. And then you get the beginning and the end, which is very atmospheric. It's almost like something from David Bowie's Low. But very, very good album, and it's their most successful to date. So OMD and Architecture and Morality is my number 12. At number 11, and we have Grace Jones and Night Clubbing, and this is magnificent. My favourite track off this is Walking in the Rain, which is an old Flash in the Pan song. Brilliant. Pull Up to the Bumper was constantly in the nightclubs around the mid-80s, right up to the mid-80s. I think it actually got re-released again, that single, in I think it was about 1985 or so. But you get things like I've Seen That Face Before, Libertango, which is great. Reminds me a little bit of La Vie en Rose, that sort of song. Night Clubbing, the Bowie Iggy Pop song, very, very good. And Demolition Man, the Sting song, which came out before the Police's version, which was on Ghost in the Machine, is 100 times better. It really is really good. I know she doesn't really sing that much, a lot of it's narration, but it's absolutely brilliant. And so Night Clubbing gets my number 11. At number 10, and we have Japan and Tin Drum. Ghosts is the big hit off this. The Art of Parties was a single along with Visions of China and Cantonese Boy, really good. Canton, the instrumental, is very good. But the one I really, really love is Sons of Pioneers, with that bass line by Mick Karn. Absolutely magnificent. Very, very oriental sounding album, but really good. At number 9, and we have The Stranglers and their second album from 1981, and it's La Folie. And the big hit in '82 was Golden Brown. But the first single was Let Me Introduce You to the Family, which is really good. La Folie is very Parisian, very dark, and it's gorgeous. Things like Non-Stop is great fun. Pin Up is also really good fun. Tramp, the Men They Love to Hate. This is the album that I think they said to Tony Visconti, we want every song to be able to have been a single. And so this is a really commercial album, and I think it's fantastic. At number 8, and we have Lindsey Buckingham and his debut solo album, Law and Order, and this is the one with the hit in America, which is Trouble. It's a good song, but it's not my favourite. I love Mary Lee Jones off this. It's really, really catchy. I like Buana, which was a single, but it was called The Visitor for the single release. Very catchy as well. Shadow of the West and that guitar, magnificent. Satisfied Mind, the cover version of the country song, I think is the best version I've heard. Bob Dylan did it on Saves, which is alright, and the Byrds did it on Turn Turn Turn, which is better than Dylan's, but I still think Lindsey Buckingham's is the best. That's How We Do It in LA, very catchy. Johnny Stew's a bit of a sort of psychedelic freak out, which is quite good. I'll Tell You Now, It Was I. All catchy Lindsey Buckingham tracks, and it gets my number 8. At number 7, and we have East Side Story by Squeeze, and the 3 singles off this. Where Is That Love, Labelled with Love, and Tempted. Now, Labelled with Love was the big hit over here. I think Tempted was the most successful in the States. But In Quintessence is very good. Someone Else's Heart is one of Chris Difford's best vocal songs. Woman's World, absolutely gorgeous. Mumbo Jumbo is a really good song. Piccadilly, catchy as hell. Couple of dodgy ones off here for me, and There's No Tomorrow and F-Hole, which F-Hole is terrible, I don't care. So if you even have taken those 2 out, it would still be the length of a normal album, because this is over 45 minutes. And if you took those 2 out, it would have been around 38 to 42 or 40 minutes. And I think it would have improved it, but still, it gets my number 7. At number 6, and we have The Cars and Shake It Up, and I love this, and this is a great album from start to finish. Since You're Gone, Shake It Up, 2 hit singles on Greatest Hits, and then I'm Not the One, which is an absolutely gorgeous track, which is on the CD version of that. Victim of Love's great track, Cruiser's a good wee rocker, and on side 2, A Dream Away. Think It Over is a good song. Maybe Baby I absolutely love. I think it's a really good sort of almost riff, guitar riff song with a lot of keyboards as well, but this to me is their best album and it's their most consistent. So The Cars, number 6, Shake It Up. And number 5, and we have Adam and the Ants and Prince Charming, and this is very underrated. Now, Kings of the Wild Frontier is a masterpiece. This is not far away from being a masterpiece. It opens up big style with horns and Scorpios, and then you get Picasso Visits the Planet of the Apes. I'm not going to say it in Spanish because I can't remember how you say it. And then the 2 number 1 hits, Prince Charming and Stand and Deliver, absolutely brilliant. The 3rd hit was Ant Rap, which is very brave of them, and the single version is better because they had to beef it up a little bit with some guitars, because it's a little lackluster on this version here. But things like That Voodoo and Five Guns West, absolutely brilliant. And Sex is a really good song as well. I absolutely love this album, and it gets my number 5. And just pipping it at number 4, it's the Old Ants, and it's Bow Wow Wow, and it's Sea Jungle, Go Join Your Gang, yeah, City All Over, Go Ape Crazy, with Annabella Lwin as the lead vocalist, of course. Jungle Boy, brilliant. Chihuahua, brilliant. Sinner, 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 which is an almost instrumental track of Prince of Darkness, which was a single, which is still very good. I'm a TV Savage is great as well. Elimination Dancing. Golly Golly Go Buddy is so catchy, it's unbelievably catchy. Go Wild in the Country was the big hit off this, and you get things like Orangutan, Hello Hello Daddy, I'll Sacrifice You. I think this is really, really good fun. Now, Bow Wow Wow really only had 2 albums, and they're both excellent. And the second one got into my list in 1983, but this probably is the better of the 2, and it gets my number 4. Okay, at number 3, and you probably think this is very high, but I love it. Slade and Till Death Do Us Part. Now again, this is their second album of 81, and the reason I didn't include We'll Bring the House Down is because I look at it really as a compilation album. Even though it's regarded as a studio album, half of the tracks were on the previous album Return to Base. So this is the true studio album for me for Slade from 1981. This is rock and roll at its best. Rock and Roll Preacher opens this. It's hilarious, it's brilliant, it's great fun. It has you singing away. Lock Up Your Daughters was a decent enough hit single, it got top 30. Till Death Do Us Part, absolutely brilliant rocker. Ruby Red, catchy as hell, one of Slade's catchiest ever songs. She Brings Out the Devil in Me, really good. A Night to Remember, they played that quite a bit live, really good. Let the Rock Roll, Out of Control is almost status quo like, but it's brilliant. Knuckle Sandwich Nancy, which I think is hilarious. It was a single, it didn't do too well, but absolutely brilliant. And then you get That Was No Lady, That Was My Wife, really, really good fun, and I absolutely adore this album. As you know, I love Slade, so Slade gets my number 3, Till Death Do Us Part. My number 2, and it is the Electric Light Orchestra and Time, and this is their second best album. Side 1 of this is brilliant. Prologue going into Twilight, what a opener to an album. Now Twilight is a great track, shouldn't have been the single though, because it doesn't work as well without the prologue. Yours Truly 2095 is full of synths, but I love it, really catchy. Ticket to the Moon is absolutely gorgeous, one of the best produced songs ever. And then you get The Way Life's Meant to Be, which is my top 3 singles of ELO. Another Heartbreaks, which is instrumental. I can take it or leave it, but I don't mind it being on the album. It doesn't spoil the album. And even side 2, Rain Is Falling, gorgeous ballad. The Lights Go Down, very stripped back, but really good. Here Is the News is their most contemporary sounding song, very, very synth heavy. 21st Century Man, catchy, acoustic, beautiful. And then Hold On Tight, which was the big hit single off this. It's basically an up-to-date rock and roll song, which I really love, and I think got to number 5. And finishing off the Epilogue. This is a masterpiece, absolutely love it. So Time by ELO gets my number 2. So my number 1 album from 1981, can you guess? No prizes for guessing. And it's The Visitors by ABBA, and oh man, this is so good. You know, if I did this 3 years ago, I would have said this is their last album, but it's not. They've had one since. It opens up with The Visitors, brilliant track, absolutely brilliant, really good sort of almost dance groove to it as well, but quite synth heavy, quite new wavy. And then you have Head Over Heels, which is so catchy. It was a hit, but just about number 25 I think, and that was the start of the decline for ABBA. When all is said and done, which was a decent enough hit in America, and a lot of people think it should have been released here instead of Head Over Heels. I still prefer Head Over Heels. And then Soldiers, which is epic track, absolutely love it. And then you have I Let the Music Speak, which really is the way that Benny and Bjorn were going. It's almost like a stage show type song. One of Us, beautiful hit single, number 3, 2 for the Price of 1, which is probably the weakest off the album, but I still do like it. And then the 2 at the end, Slipping Through My Fingers and Like an Angel Passing Through My Room, are absolutely gorgeous. ABBA's second best album behind Arrival, so it's my number 1 in 1981. So that went on quite a bit. I really enjoyed doing that, and I will put up another 3 years. I'm going to have to get a couple of 60s ones in there because I've only ever done one 60s video. I'm surprised. I thought everybody would vote for the 60s, but it seems to lose every time. Anyway, that's me for now. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to have another video quite soon. All the best now. Bye bye.